Hey there, folks! Welcome to my channel, the World Comment Corner. In this channel, I will comment about anything and everything ranging from trending news, random events, interesting videos, and any other subjects of interest. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. And if you have anything that you would like me to cover, feel free to comment below, and I will choose one of them to discuss and analyze in the next episode. This will be my first video, and in this video, I'm going to discuss about the train chaos that is currently experienced by our friends over in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. Since around 2022, after the COVID pandemic, Sydney's train network has been under constant threat of disruption due to ongoing tensions between the New South Wales government and the rail, Tram and Bus Union, RTBU. The union has been demanding better pay, improved working conditions, and more secure jobs for workers, while the government has been reluctant to meet those demands, citing budget constraints and cost-saving measures. Over the past few years, the situation has escalated and de-escalated multiple times. Strikes, work stoppages, and rolling disruptions have become frequent, but these issues have often been temporarily resolved through short-term agreements or negotiations. However, the situation seems to have come back again now in January 2025. On January 15, 2025, tensions between the union and the government have once again escalated, with the union intensifying its industrial action, threatening full-scale stoppages unless their demands are met. This has resulted in significant disruptions across the entire Sydney train network, with many commuters facing cancelled or delayed services. Many trains were cancelled, many more were rescheduled, and almost all the trains were delayed, some by over 2 to 3 hours. It could take over 1 hour just to travel from one station to the next, that is the train ever coming at all. Really an utter chaos. So what's going on here? It is not really clear what is happening, with both sides unwilling to budge their position. On one side, there are the workers that are joined together by the rail, Tram and Bus Union, and apparently the union has a strong influence here in New South Wales. On the other side is the state government, who still owns the majority of the public transportation in New South Wales. I say majority because the state government has been privatizing a lot of public assets in the last decade. The rail system is still safe for now, but most of the buses and some train lines, like the airport stations and the Sydney metro system, are already privatized. The rail system itself, though still publicly owned for the time being, is under immense pressure. The RTBU is demanding better pay, improved working conditions, and more job security for their members. In contrast, the state government is adamant about controlling costs and making the system more efficient, leading to a standoff. Both sides are unwilling to compromise, and without resolution, the risk of more severe disruptions or even a full shutdown of train services remains high. Commuters are caught in the middle of this power struggle, facing the brunt of the delays, cancellations, and uncertainty. The situation has reached a critical point, and it's unclear where it will go from here, as both sides seem determined to hold their ground. However, let's consider that the rail system is still owned by the New South Wales state government. So why is it that the government couldn't do anything in this situation, and they are struggling to control the workers and the union's actions? In most other countries, if the workers complain too much and does not want to work, the government just sack them all and replace with others who actually need work and want to work. So why can't the New South Wales government enforce the policy, considering that the union action is disrupting the service for the general public? Is the rail union really that powerful? Let's look more deeply into the current state of the rail system in Sydney, Australia, and let's see if we can make sense of this. Firstly, consider that in recent years, the rail, Tram and Bus Union, RTBU, has been in a protracted dispute with the New South Wales government over pay and working conditions of the rail workers. This has led to various strikes and stoppages, affecting the normal running of trains across the years. Unions are pushing for better wages, more safety measures, and a fairer distribution of workload for rail workers. But I think some of their demands are quite unreasonable. For example, the RTBU rail, Tram, and bus union is demanding a 32% pay increase over 4 years, which translates to an 8% annual increase. In response, the New South Wales government has negotiated a 15% pay rise over the same 4-year period, which equates to 3.75% increase per year. This rate is reasonable when compared to other industries in Australia, where 3% to 4% increase per year is generally considered typical and reasonable. Despite this offer, the union is unhappy with the government's proposal, arguing that it doesn't meet their members' needs, particularly given rising costs of living and the demands placed on workers in the sector. As a result, the rail union is threatening to continue its strikes and industrial action. In other industries, securing any kind of pay rise at all, let alone a 3% annual increase, is often seen as a positive outcome, especially in a period of economic uncertainty. However, the union feels that the proposed 15% increase over 4 years is still too low and doesn't reflect the value of rail workers. Not only that, but the union is also demanding a 36-hour work per week, instead of the standard 38-hour work per week in Australia for the same increased pay. Now they are starting to get greedier, aren't they? Another key issue is the ongoing staff shortage at Sydney Trains, which is preventing the network from running all of its scheduled services. This shortage is partly due to the challenges of recruiting and retaining workers, especially with the uncertainty created by the ongoing industrial dispute. When workers are unsure about their job security or conditions, it becomes harder to attract and keep staff, which only exacerbates the problem. So who's to blame here? An interesting and somewhat confusing development occurred in November 2024, when the union stated they would continue their industrial action unless the government agreed to run train services 24 hours a day on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. This demand raised a lot of questions, especially given the current staff shortage. If Sydney Trains is already struggling to operate its existing services due to a lack of staff, why would the union push for expanded services that would require even more workers? It's not as though there's a huge demand for trains during the middle of the night, when the services will be running. In fact, the government actually trialed 24-hour weekend services for a number of weekends last year, and the result was predictable. Most of the trains were canceled anyway during the late night hours due to a lack of demand and the ongoing staffing issues. Given these realities, the union's demand for round-the-clock service seems unreasonable. It adds pressure to an already strained system without addressing the underlying issue, the chronic shortage of staff. So, while the union's call for better conditions and pay is understandable, the push for extended services by the union feels more like a symbolic stance rather than a practical solution. These disruptions have sparked growing frustration among commuters, with many relying on public transport for daily travel to work or school and doing their activities. This dispute has effectively been holding the public hostage. Overcrowding, delays, and last-minute cancellations are leading to longer commute times and increased stress for the public. The New South Wales government has a responsibility to maintain order and safety in the city, so they have been under immense pressure to resolve the situation as soon as possible. But so far, there hasn't been a quick resolution. Talks between unions and the government continue, but tensions remain high, and there's no clear end in sight. The Sydney train chaos is a complex issue that seems unlikely to be resolved quickly without significant compromises from both sides. I think the government should have more power over the union, especially given all the news that the government has been trying to meet with the union's demands and minimizing the disruptions caused by the strikes and industrial action. Which other countries that the public sector workers can just walk off the job and still keep the job the next day? Yes, they do have rights and protections through labor laws and other regulations which govern things like unfair dismissal and discriminations. They also have rights for collective bargaining through union participation for increased pay and better conditions. That said, the government should certainly have more influence over the situation, particularly in managing the broader public interest. From my understanding, the government has been trying to meet with the union's demands, but the union just wants more. The government has a duty to ensure that vital services like public transport continue to function smoothly for the benefit of the public. If the strikes persist without resolution, it raises questions about whether public sector workers who provide essential services should be held to higher accountability standards to prevent their actions from holding the public hostage for too long. This kind of ongoing deadlock is certainly a sign that the current system of labor relations might need some reform, particularly when it comes to critical services. It's not just about fairness for the workers, but most importantly, we need fairness for the people who rely on those services to get on with their daily lives. Hopefully, this dispute will be resolved soon. If you're spending 2 to 3 hours just to get to work and another 2 to 3 hours to get home, it's only fair that you're compensated for the delays as well. Thank you for joining with me today as we explored this intriguing topic. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. Also comment below if you have a topic that you'd like me to discuss. Until next time, and stay safe.